You see how they did Rihanna, Black Lives, what makes you think they want mine? I got 400 years of pain inside my bloodline. My grandma was one of the first female police in the D. But if it was now, she'll probably quit the job and be protesting right there with me.
Keep the applause going, Lawrence. Keep those applause going. I peeled that off of Instagram, HP.
I love it.
I stalked this man. It's beyond rap now. We've known each other from the rap game. We've seen his accomplishments, whether it's the Grammy nominated or the hit records or the Billboard charting. All of those things are amazing, but what's most amazing to me is how he processes them. And then he gives it back to the world for folks to learn from it, through the honesty. When I hear these songs on this new album, Detroit 2, I feel like my brother has reached a new stratosphere. And he came to share it with us through trials and tribulations, and he put it into one concept. I was once perhaps maybe seen as a big brother and maybe even as a mentor to him. Hopefully I'm still seen as a big brother, but he's a mentor to me. Welcome him back to the show, the one and only Big Sean. Give him a round of applause.
Yep.
Come on, Sean. Stop playing.
You got me feeling incredible, man. Thank you. How you feeling, man?
I'm good, Sean. The state of things. That's why I played this Instagram freestyle that you put up. The state of things. Obviously it's been challenging for all of us, and issues that we thought we had that were, had great magnitude on impact on our lives now seem minuscule compared to the things that have happened in the past. Let's say 8 months or so.
Absolutely.
I count blessings. I count blessings. So
if you count blessings, if you count blessings, you'll always feel rich. I'll tell you that.
Sure. There it is.
It gets hard.
Sway, so I definitely want to congratulate you before we really get into it, and to being inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame, man. That's well deserved. Well deserved, my brother.
Thank you.
You are truly a voice of generations, not just a generation of generations. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely look up to you for being selfless, for helping bring out so many people's amazing stories, dog, and really continuing to have that passion, When you do something for over 10 years, anything, whether it's, journalism, music, acting, flipping burgers, everything in between, you got to reignite that passion somehow, because I learned that the hard way. I learned that in music, that I was burning myself out, and I wasn't finding, it was becoming more of a job than it was my passion and my happy place like it used to be, and I had to rediscover myself, and, it was a big process. So I commend you for that, because I can only imagine that you've had to go through some similar situations, for sure.
And oh shit, I see we're gonna get real today. You see that, Heather B? You see how Sean doing? It's interesting you say that, because you would imagine that speaking on the radio every day, we're live every day, so we haven't done a whole lot of pre-recorded interviews. It's all live. That someone in this role would be able to speak it out, and I don't always get a chance to speak it out because I'm so concerned about those who are tuned in. I want them to speak it out, and then we do share a lot of our experiences. I do too, but I also am still learning, Sean, since I, each, as we evolve, we continue to learn. So how I coped with things 10 years ago isn't how I cope with things today. And it sounded like to me, even for you, when we first met, and I don't know, you was rapping on the rooftop and the fame hadn't come yet to the extent that it has now, you had to create different skills and coping mechanisms to deal with your success, and so hearing you say you got to a place where it was like you couldn't even figure out your safe space and seemed like music became a job and not a passion. What did you do to pivot from that? How did you start changing that road and getting to the point where you can actually do this album, Detroit 2, and feel like it's the best one you ever done?
Right.
Well, I had to let go of the fear of I came from a place, and I know many of us do, where it's rare to make it. It's rare to be successful in show business. You know what I'm saying? Quote unquote. And when you are, it's like, man, you got to stay hot. You got to stay on their necks. You got to stay hot. You got to stay hot. So I find myself just not really enjoying my life because I am somebody who really cares about not just myself, but at one point I feel like I cared about everyone around me more than I did about myself. I would sacrifice my happiness. I would sacrifice my time. I would get used to just overflow and not, rejuvenating myself or taking care of myself. And I got burnt out. I got burnt out from traveling. I got burnt out to the point where I just couldn't think of anything anymore. I was just mentally checked out. And I didn't realize that my brain was a muscle that you have to work out too. You got to strengthen too, and you have to take care of, your mental, your emotions. And I found myself I felt broken, bro. I felt broken inside. I was trying to be in the studio sometimes, and it felt like I couldn't think of anything that I liked. And days would go by, and it was just, I feel like it was struggling, man. I was struggling. And I realized that, okay, I'm at a point in my life where I'm at a wall, and I got to this wall is either going to fall on me or I got to figure out how to climb over it because I can't go around it, So what I did was I took some time for myself, and I took some time for myself at a time where my managers, everyone around me, they were telling me it wasn't the best time for me to take time for myself. They were like, you need a new album, you need a new single, you need da-da-da, you need to do this. You got these endorsements, you got to do all this stuff. And I couldn't do it, And when they saw me in the condition I was in, because I was breaking down, I was broken down, that they understood and they did support me. And what I started to do is I started doing therapy, man. I started communicating more. I came up in a family where my grandma and my granddad were in World War II. They were World War II veterans. My grandma was one of the first female black cops in the D, and a teacher after that, a counselor. And they were loving people, but they didn't express it, bro. They came from a place where you don't really show emotions like that. And it translated down to my mom, translated down to me. And I had to learn how to show my emotions more, because I had all these things pent up in me and all these things that I had to heal and fix. So I did the therapy. I sought spiritual help. I really tapped into my meditation more. I really tapped into journaling. I really tapped into figuring out what made me happy. I remember when my therapist asked me, what makes you happy? And I couldn't even answer the question. I remember I just started crying because I couldn't figure out what made me happy anymore. I didn't even know what my hobbies were because all I did was make music, sleep, wake up, think about making more music, link with producers, travel, interview, do charity work, take care of my family, do what they needed to do, and I just didn't even know what I liked to do. I didn't even know how to live anymore. So I started doing things. I started taking time. I went skydiving. I went to the gun range to see if I liked that. I didn't really like that much though. I was just trying things out.
Yeah.
And I rediscovered myself. Yeah.
You went skydiving, Sean?
Yeah, I went skydiving, man. It was fun. It was a lot.
What the hell?
I keep telling you to do it, Sway.
A lot of people skydive, Sway. It's not weird thing to do. I imagine it feels.
It's freeing. It's very
exactly
freeing. Like you just let go of so much. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't describe the feeling. Maybe Sean, you had the same feeling, but it's just something about it. Like once you realize that you're out, like you're out. It's just like this free feeling. I can't describe. There's no other feeling like it. Maybe getting baptized.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, when I jumped out of the plane, though, I was like, the first 2 seconds, I was like, oh, man, I probably shouldn't have done this. But then, then like 8 or 9 seconds into it, I was like, okay, this is incredible. Like, it's just free. You know, I felt free, you know, and you know, I started taking care of myself, and, you know, I got a great relationship with my mom, but I was at a point, even with her, where, you know, I told her I didn't want her to be a part of my life anymore. You know, I remember I went off on her one day because I just wasn't me, man, I guess, all the way. And, you know, I was taking it out on people that didn't even deserve it. And I just had to take time for myself, man. And I said, okay, where I'm at and where I know I can be are two different places, so let me figure out how to get there. And luckily I had people around me who were supportive. And then all of a sudden, once I started taking the pressure off of myself of, you know, my life depended on this music, you got to do this. If you don't do this, you know, and started just having fun with it again.
Right.
That's when it really came back to me. You know, that's when the passion started to come back to me. And, you know, that's how I was able to start really tuning into the album. You know what I mean? And, you know, now I feel like you say, things come at you on a daily basis. You know, like, of course I feel anxious sometimes, have anxiety, get super depressed and all these things, but now I just know how to deal with it in a way where I can come out of it and still be happy. You know, that's one of my things is staying aggressively happy. So, you know, that's just kind of where I'm at right now. I'm definitely not like perfect or anything. Nobody, or, you know, or else we wouldn't be here. You know, I feel like Chadwick was perfect. You know, I feel like Nipsey was perfect. I feel like a lot of these people who, you know, got called back to God, Kobe. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, they did their purpose here. But I still got a lot of work to do on myself.
Big Sean is here. We're talking about the Detroit 2 album, and the phones have lit up. And I love that line in Deep Reverence when you said after what happened to Nipsey, I reached out to Kendrick, and it wasn't even no real issues there to begin with. You know, what was that conversation like? Was he surprised by your call, Kendrick?
Nah. So what happened was I sat next to my homie Punch on the plane from TDE, and he was like, you know, I knew it was nothing between me and Kendrick for real, so I just kind of let it go. But one of the things I learned from Nip was me and him kept texting and, you know, kept being like, man, let's get up. Because me and Nip known each other since 2008, you know, and then we were on the freshman cover together, and we just were peers. We were homies, you know, and he always respected a lot of things about me, and I definitely always respected a lot of things about him, you know, and we were real solid. And he was working with one of my producers I signed as well on Victory Lap, and you know we would be working with him at the same time. Like he'd be working with me one day, and then working with Nip, and like me and Nip would always be like, man, we got to link up, and we would link sometimes at certain events, but we never really linked up like we should have, and like we talked about. We would send each other songs. We started working on a few songs, you know what I mean? And it's just like I thought we would have time to always link up, and then all of a sudden, when I was in Detroit, and he got killed, something shifted in me, you know, and it shifted in I feel like a lot of us because you could tell he was on a upswing of like being a greater version of himself. That, you know, he was like tuning into his highest self. You know what I mean? And it hurt real bad to see my brother go like that. So I remember being on a plane to go perform at a festival, sitting next to Punch, and I think like SZA was on the plane too. That's why Punch was there too. And he was like, "Yo, you ever reached out to Kendrick?" I was like, nah, he know it's all good, though. Like, it ain't nothing. He was like, yeah, man, but, you know, you should really reach out to him. And when he said that, I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I got his number. Because I actually did text him one other time, but I had a wrong number. And I never, like, went any further than that. I just left it there. 'Cause, you know, so I had the wanting to do that. So when I reached out to him, the mutual respect me and him have for each other is just like, it's that of like kings and brothers. You know what I mean? It's like we respect each other to the fullest. And he was just like, you know, I guess he thought he was, I don't want to speak for him, but the situation was, he thought that people around him were telling him something, people around me were telling me something, and this really wasn't the case. So when we were able to talk, it was a good reconciliation, and it was a good mutual respect. And even when he heard the reverend, you know, he hit me and was like, yo, I appreciate you showing that love. I appreciate that love in the verse, man. And you guys really, you and Nip went crazy. Like, y'all gassed on it. So it was good to just get that. It was good to get that response from your brother. Because on that record, I just was keeping it open and honest and real. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to hold back. And it was not out of disrespect either. It was just out of respect for myself and for the things I learned along the way. People might need to hear that. People might need to hear that interaction that happened between me and him so they can call up friends that they haven't been cool with in a while over nothing. You know, there are so many situations where people just don't speak anymore because of the most minor things, and you may not even remember what it's about, you know? So that and a couple other relationships in my life, I was able to reconcile, and I really, really, you know, Nip really inspired that. So I'm just thankful that went down.
Amazing song, too. Deep Reverence on the Detroit 2 project out this Friday. Big Sean said it's his best project to date, and he's put out some whoppers, HB. So 21 songs. Zeno sent me the album like at 1:30 a.m., so I haven't had a chance to go through all of it, but I will. And everything I've heard so far is incredible. I'm going to let Tracy G jump in, too. She'll be pissed if she didn't get a chance to ask you a question.
Thank you.
She acts different, too.
That's accurate. What up, Sean? I mean, I'm so excited to listen to this album, especially from the way that you're speaking about it. Voices in My Head has been my alarm for I don't know how long. It's impossible to hit snooze when you listen to that track. So I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to another joint. To supplement it, I have two things for you, my dear. First is I'm curious. Thank you for sharing what you did about speaking to Kendrick, to seeing how you had that opportunity, but then taking action to follow through. But I wonder then, do you have a conversation with the people who are putting it in your head that he was doing something? You know what I mean? That there was beef brewing. Because sometimes, in my opinion, you have to be careful about those who are creating an environment possibly of paranoia. You know what I mean? Of drama, who are making you think that something is happening that isn't really there. And they might be conscious or subconscious of their moves. Did you have a conversation with your team or whoever was telling you this?
Well, yeah, it actually wasn't. What's crazy is my team is the reason that I never really addressed it, because they were like, oh, man, don't even worry about that. You know, it's nothing. Like, if it was something, it would be an issue. But, you know, managers and, you know, they were kind of the reason I never really pursued it. But what really was blowing it out of proportion, I feel like, was the internet. And that was one of the first examples of, like, the internet really taking a full force, or, you know, the internet really being such an important thing. Because I come from, like, you know, I come from an era where it was like, you know, we came up through mixtapes and the internet helped us explode in that way. But it was like, if you didn't say something or confirm something, then it never was really real. So it was kind of a narrative that just kept getting talked about that ended up started to become real, you know, but there was no, you know, once you peek behind the curtains, there was nothing there. So, you know, it taught us a lot. It kind of reminded me in the movie of, like, when Biggie and Pac, when Biggie was like, yo, I'm going to just call Pac, man. Like, and then Puff was like, no, you just can't call him, man. You know, that was in the movie. I don't know if that happened in real life. But my thing is just, like, I learned that where it's just, like, if you have any issues, you just got to pick up the phone or go see somebody or talk to them or let them know, because life is too unpredictable right now. You know, life is too short. Yeah, and it is. And
I'm also curious real quick, too, from when you shared with us earlier about just not feeling passionate about music anymore. And it sounds like you were just, the person became synonymous with a product. You know, you, the person, are the product. And it gets crazy because you forget to tend to your own heartbeat. During that time, when you're in a relationship, did you lean on Janae more, or did you feel like you had to take that path of renewal by yourself?
I tried to, but that's why me and her, we split for a little while, you know, because I was, you know, I had to figure some things out personally. And when you're not right with yourself, what you bring to the table with somebody else isn't right either. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I had to work on myself to be a better version of myself. And that's a testament of true love, is when you let something go and see where it goes from there, you know? So I tried to, but at the same time, you know, and I think she had some stuff to work on too, and it was great because I think we learned a lot in a short amount of time. And was able to come back and share with each other and then help each other more, you know. And she's always been supportive of me, and me supportive of her. So, you know, it was something that I did, a lot of things I did have to go through on my own, though, to answer that question. You know, I had to experience things on my own. I had to explore my own thoughts. And I had to, you know, figure myself out. And sometimes to figure yourself out, you have to do it yourself. And, you know, it's important to love yourself and to be strong on your own, because then you bring that to a relationship. You don't bring the dependency on somebody to make you feel good. You bring in your best self to the relationship and to anything else you do. So that's kind of what happened with us, and it definitely helped make us stronger. You know, it helped improve our communication too, because I'm somebody who I try and just go with the flow and try not to create too much conflict. So I'm somebody who, if I'm uncomfortable with something, I've like brought it up at a later time sometimes, not always expressed it in the moment, you know, but now if something is truly bothering me, I just speak it from the heart. And whenever you come from the heart, people are going to see what you're saying, you know.
Facts.
There's no such thing as right or wrong. It's just you being real, you know.
Straight up.
This project is so transparent. And speaking of Janae, and I'm assuming the lyric was about the two of you when you said should be a billionaire based on the time off I'm not taking. Probably why the shit with me get crazy. And we lost a baby. Yeah, and that's, you know, first of all, my prayers and you know, and strength go to you. I don't hear people talk about that. Happens a lot in our community, miscarriages. You know, it happens often. I got family members, I got friends, people we all know, but no one ever talks about it. You know what I mean? And here you are, you put it on a record and brought it to the world. Was that something y'all sat and consulted about before you decided? Did you need to get permission to do that? And y'all decided that together? And what did you hope that people would gain from you sharing that?
Well, that is definitely a very painful situation. So I don't want to talk too much about it, but I did talk about it. And, you know, especially when things like that, even with, like, especially that song, if anybody had anything to do with that song, I played it for them in advance. Like, even, from K.o.o.d. to, you know, I definitely played it for Janae before, and I definitely, you know, played it for my dad. I played it for Hove. You know, I mentioned him in it a little bit. And I played it for a lot of people and Nip's family. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tough situation, but
Yeah.
everything happens in the right time. So I'm not. I got so much faith in God and in the universe,
Amen.
and So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there.
That's fine. I respect that and appreciate that, and I honestly appreciate, like, the song is really deep, and I know you, but I'm getting to know you, who you are today, which is fun for
Mm-hmm.
me. I feel like I got a new friend out of an old friend, HB, and I know my old friend HB. I used to put him in my like top 5 of new MCs because he had that skill
Yeah.
set. You know,
Yeah.
I'm wondering. I haven't listened to the album in its entirety. I'm gonna let HB ask you a question, but I'm concerned about the skill set. HB, holla at him.
No, that's funny you said that, Sean, and thank you again for sharing so much with everything today, especially about therapy and whatnot. And I went through a lot of that same stuff too that you spoke about, being an artist and feel like the pressures and everything that comes with it. And I was in search for peace, and
Mm-hmm.
I realized I didn't find my peace until I found forgiveness. Like I needed forgiveness in order to get peace. So that's what sort of worked for me. And once I was able to get that, I was able to go back in, not necessarily be an artist, Sean, 24/7 again, but at least be in the most comfortable place, as you said, to continue to come from the heart. But during that time, I remember a skill set that KRS-One, who was my music mentor coming in the game, had taught me, and he was just always like, at every day you have to write something and memorize it. Write something and memorize it. Do you find yourself, even though you're seasoned, you do what you do, and you just put out banger after banger, do you still find yourself practicing the art of MCing every chance you get?
Yeah, all the time. Like, first of all, I know that is one of the things that I had to do. I had to forgive myself for a lot of things.
Ooh.
I had to
Yes.
dig deep in
Yes.
myself to forgive, and it was an emotional process. You know what I mean?
Hell
And I
yeah.
still am.
Hell yeah.
I still am going through it. It's a, like Sway said. I think we're gonna be learning until we die. I think we'll be learning until until we're done with this world. And I'm like, I love like rapping. So like I freestyle. Like just having fun. Like it
Yeah.
don't not always be good at all. Sometimes it's like sometimes it's not so good, but I do it just having fun,
Yeah, the
and
practice
sometimes it's
of it. Yeah.
mumbles. I don't really write any of my raps down anymore, so it's kind of all just like a process where I like listen to it, come up with it, and like build on it, take it like a few lines at a time, and yeah, it's the art of it is fun. It's fun to me, and the
Yeah.
thing that's kind of just like the only tough part about it all still for me is that being judged so
Oof.
hard. It's like I
Yeah.
appreciate the field I'm in, but I get a lot of love too.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everyone has an opinion. Everyone doesn't even like how water tastes. Some people don't even like water. And well, you're made 70% of water, so I get it. Some people don't even love themselves. Some people do, and everyone doesn't like the same thing. So not only do I get that, but it's just hard when you're an artist. It's hard
Yeah.
because you put your whole heart out there, and you care. I know I care about my craft, and I try and put inspiration. I try and put upliftment. I try and put positivity into my music because that's where I'm at in my life. Those are the things I feel like we need. I feel like on this album, I didn't even rap about one brick. I ain't even rap about effing nobody girl.
Yeah.
Nobody bitches, they say. I ain't even rap about, drip or none, which is fire. It ain't nothing wrong with rapping about that. I love all of that. But
Yeah.
that just wasn't my truth. I tried to stay to my truth on this one all the way. So,
Yep.
I think it's easier for people to pick you apart than it is to just like understand that, hey, I'm trying to do something positive. I'm trying to like put my truths out there. And when was trying ever something that, you know, you would tear somebody down for, especially, you know, how hard it is to just be to be expressive out here nowadays, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the one thing as an artist that, like, I can't say I don't care. I can't get to that point where it's like, well, I don't care what people say, because I do care. You know, I care about this. It's one of the most important things to me, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, Big Sean is here, man. I know you gotta go, and I got a bunch of people on the phone lines, and I promised the citizens, so I gotta take at least 1 or 2 calls, Sean. You good with that?
No, for sure.
Okay, cool, man. And I feel like this is the first part of a multi-part conversation that I would love to continue to have with you. Tamala's on the line from Los Angeles. Good morning, Tamala.
What up,
Hey,
T?
Tamala.
Grand Risings. Simone, my bad.
Simone, yes. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to say I initially was going to call in because I was like, who is this artist that has all this fire, like just spitting this fire? And I was like, oh, that's Big Sean, like sounding like a fresh artist that's just passionate and just like ready to give, you know, his all. So I really appreciate that. And, I mean, you got me emotional with everything that you're talking about, but I feel it. Everything that you're saying that you've recently gone through, I recently went through, like even down to like something that you considered your passion. Like I'm a nurse and I have a passion for taking care of people. But over the years, you're just like, what am I doing? You have to recreate and refine, like, you know, remember why you initially got into what you were doing. But it really does take the time to just sit and figure out what makes you happy. My boyfriend literally asked me, he was like, what makes you happy? He's like, I'm trying to make you happy. What makes you happy? And I was speechless. I didn't know. I had no idea. So I feel you. I feel you, everything. And we feel it in that song, definitely. So thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, wow. God bless you. And, you know, that truly, I'm not even just being dramatic. That's making me tear up because, you know, that's why I do it, man. It's like I don't. It's not that. Of course, I want to be the best rapper. Of course, I'm trying to like make the best music I can. But what I'm really just trying to do, what I really feel like my real life purpose is to inspire. So that I just want people to hear the energy more than anything, you know.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing that you say that, and I appreciate that. And,
thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. Hey, Sean, look, I just want to tell you I love you, brother. I'm proud of you. We're here for you. Anytime, no matter. Absolutely. We're going to do another conversation. I'm going to take some time off next week, and then after that, I'll reach out to folks, and we'll get another conversation going. I want to, even off the mic, I want to hear more about your process, bro. And this project, you know, what I'm hearing from this project.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you. And, man, a new album is out tonight, man, Detroit too. So thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Be safe, Sean. I'll reach out to you, okay, brother?
All right, y'all. All right, peace.
All right.
Thanks, Sean.